Hello and welcome back to Tinker Talks Guns. Today we're going to talk about this, the Ruger Super Blackhawk 44 Magnum. And it is a chunky boy. In the early 50s, 1950s, TV movies and westerns were all the rage, but Colt had stopped making its iconic single-action Army. And there wasn't much out there to satisfy that itch for a cowboy gun. So Ruger, following on the success of their standard Model 22 semi-automatic pistol, introduced the Ruger Single 6, a mid-size to smallish 22 caliber single-action revolver, and it was a big hit. And following on the heels of that, they introduced the Ruger Blackhawk in .357 Magnum, which was a very desirable caliber, and it was a very economical pistol. And they sold like hotcakes, and other calibers came out in the Blackhawk. And when Ruger got wind of Remington and Smith & Wesson developing the .44 Magnum cartridge, they upscaled the Blackhawk slightly to produce the Super Blackhawk, which came with adjustable sights. And it was similarly a hit because .44 Magnum was all the rage, all the cool kids had to have one, but the Smith & Wessons were expensive. And so the success of the Blackhawk was pretty much assured. So let's go to a tabletop and have a look at this beast. The Ruger Super Blackhawk is, as noted, a big gun. And in the original version, they had a flat top, which are known, strangely enough, as the flat top models. This one was pretty much the second iteration, which had the hump for the very nice adjustable sight. And this is, as mentioned, a big gun, being almost 13.5 inches long and 6 inches high when equipped with the standard 7.5-inch barrel. These are available in other barrel lengths, but the 7.5 is by far the most common and possibly the most popular. So, this is a 3-screw model. So-called because there are only 3 screws. Duh. And the mechanism is rather Colt-like in that you can't really see it through the gap, but when the hammer is down, the firing pin protrudes far enough to hit a primer or rest on a primer. So like a Colt single action, you only want to load 5 chambers. So load 1, skip 1, load 4 more, and then when you cock the gun, the hammer will come down on an empty chamber. And that's the safe way to carry it. It is effectively a 5-shooter. Yes, it is possible to load 6 rounds and keep it in the safety notch, but if the gun falls and lands on the hammer, you can break the safety notch and the gun will go off. To unload, of course, is again just like a Colt, where you use an ejector mounted under the barrel. And it pushes them far enough out that if they don't fall out, you can easily pull them the rest of the way out. So, the adjustable sight in this iteration does not have a flat rear blade like modern sights, but it still provides a really genuinely useful and good sight picture, witnessed by the fact that people routinely use these for the last 50 years, almost, to take deer at ranges out to 100, even 150 yards. The front sight is a great big ramp, which this one is colored, which does help see it in a variety of conditions. The owner colored it yellow because that works best for her eyes. And I have to say, the finish on this, for what was an economical gun in its time, is quite impressive, with a lovely liquid bluing. And of course, this one has significant holster wear, especially on the cylinder. But it's just a a beautifully made gun, and honestly, comparing it to more modern versions of this gun, it has a significantly better fit and finish. Now, to remove the cylinder, bring the gun to half cock, open the loading gate, press the button, pull the cylinder pin out, just like on a Colt, and the cylinder comes right out. This early example has recessed cylinders, which is a nice feature, especially if they had made 44 Magnum in balloon head cartridges. And many people love this feature. It is a sign usually of a gun with a little extra quality. I personally don't like it because I can't look at the side of the back of the cylinder with the cylinder in place and tell if the gun is loaded. But that's just me. Reassembly, of course, is exactly the opposite. And it all goes together rather nicely. And these are the standard wooden stocks. They have shrunk a bit over the decades since this gun was made in the mid-1960s. But it provides an adequate and comfortable grip. And I have very large hands. And a lot of people complain about this hitting them in the hand, in the finger, and hurting under recoil. And I have to say, I've not personally experienced that. Now, when we did shoot this, we used 44 special loads because that's what the owner brought. But, yeah, I can only conclude that people's hands are different and react differently to recoil. And, of course, the classic Ruger badge with some of the color worn away on that side, a little less on this side. And all in all, this is just a delight to handle. It balances nicely in the hand. It's not exceptionally heavy for two-handed shooting, and it's just a terrific old gun. I really enjoyed shooting it and would love to shoot it with Magnum loads, and probably will be offered that chance at some point. So, it's a classic for a good reason, and I just adore it. The Super Blackhawk remains popular today, and they're still making and selling them. And although prices have increased somewhat to where this is a rather expensive proposition, which is far from its origins as sort of the economy 44 Magnum. And this gun was purchased by the owner because it was made in her birth year, and she's always wanted one. And she's going to enlist my assistance, or rather I'm going to assist her in refinishing the cylinder and shortening the barrel to her desired length of 4 5/8 inches. And relocating the front sight, of course, and turning it into a very handy gun, which is legal for big game hunting or deer hunting in Washington State. And this is a working gun. Yes, they have some collector's value now, but this is not what you'd call a prime example. And honestly, being shortened to 4 5/8 inches suits the owner, suits her purposes, and I see no reason not to. Because guns are meant to be used. And like I said, not being in prime collectible condition, it should be adapted to the owner's desires. And I'm going to help her do that. Anyway, classic gun, great cartridge. As useful today as a hunting implement as it ever was. I myself have taken deer with a 44 Magnum single-action revolver, although it's a different brand. But despite not having the later transfer bar safety and other features that allow it to be carried fully loaded, I would definitely own this gun if I could afford it. But like I said, prices have gotten pretty high even on the used guns. Anyway, classic for a reason. the Ruger Super Blackhawk, still just a wonderful, amazing gun. Anyway, if you like the video, please hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Commenting also helps the channel. And all of this costs money, so there's a link to my Patreon account in the description below. And if you'd like to assist me in these efforts, kick $1 or $2 a month my way. Trust me, you won't miss it. And it will really help. Anyway, I hope this finds you well. Stay safe, take care, and we'll talk to you again real soon.